Well, today I have something to show you that I don't know how well I can explain because I'm not all that into them, but I saw one quite cheaply on eBay, so I thought I'd pick one up. It's a Soviet IP-5 Rebreather, and a rebreather is a bit like a gas mask, except you exhale into the same thing you're breathing into, and a mixture of oxygen and other chemicals scrub the CO2, and you basically keep recycling your own breath until you can't recycle it anymore. They're very complicated, but apparently quite an easy system to understand, but I don't really get them. But I saw one cheap and I thought if you're into gas masks you'd find this interesting. So when I first got it, it was very neatly all packed into this bag, and like lots of these things, once you take it out you can never get it back in. So let's fully disassemble it and I'll show you what's in there. Inside that green bag you have a secondary bag like this that was tied up, and you also have your instruction manual that's in Cyrillic, so it's in Russian. Of course, like I said, I have no clue what this all says in here. I know I have a lot of people from Russia and Eastern Europe that watch my videos, so they can probably tell me what that says if they're really interested. But anyway, this is the more important part of it. So let's get this out of the bag. So you have your actual mask. It's very alien looking, and in theory this doesn't have an exhale valve because everything goes back into the same thing you inhaled from. So it looks like a standard sort of Russian white mask. It has a hose attached to it and the hose goes into the bladder. I'll unpack everything and then lay it all out so you can see it. Right, so this is your full rebreather setup, except I don't have the electronic box filter type thing that goes in there, but I'll explain that later, as best I can, because I don't get these things at all. So, you have your massive rebreather lung thing here, that the mask is sitting on top of, and that's circular, and that goes around your neck, and that's where you exhale and inhale from. Then connected to that would be a filter kind of device. I think they are electric, or they use some kind of chemical system, and that acts as the sort of CO2 scrubbing device. So I don't have that attached because these cost a lot more if you get one of that, and they're not necessarily safe to use the old ones anyway. So apart from having a full kit, you wouldn't really want to use it, so I'd rather just spend about £15 and get the rebreather without it. So because of how this all looks, I think if I put it on you might be able to see the system better, so I'll do that now. Well, that's everything attached to me. So I'd have my box in here if I was really using one, and this would be closed onto here, but I don't know if I'd be able to breathe or it's safe to do so, so I'm not going to be doing that. So I've got like the big lung bladder thing around my neck, and the mask on my face. If we test it, yeah, that mask is airtight. This is like any other Soviet mask, but a bit less comfortable, because I guess it has to if it works underwater. So that's all the gear on. That's my lung section of it, essentially, my breathing bag, and that would connect to that. I assume you could just screw this mask onto a normal filter if you really wanted to, although it kind of works the opposite way around, because this is like a filter intake bit here, not the connector hose. And so you'd screw that onto this bag like this. I shouldn't be doing this, but I can still breathe through it for the time being. I imagine over time carbon dioxide will build up in there and then you'd suffocate. Let's just disconnect that hose to be safe. That is of course assuming fresh air isn't just getting into that bag, simply because there's no other way for it to do anything. So, yeah, this is a weird system, isn't it? I'll take the mask off so you can hear me a bit better. So yeah, as I was saying, this is a weird system. I don't know much about rebreathers. Some people in the comments do. They often talk about them, but like I said, I've never sort of done any deep sea diving or anything where you'd use anything like this, so I have no real interest in them other than they're kind of cool looking. But sort of, I do know that, you know, these are quite popular things. They're quite practical. Supposedly, having these lasts longer than having an oxygen tank, like an aqua lung if you're a diver, because the rebreather process means you're recycling air rather than just simply using air and exhaling. You also don't create bubbles if you're using a rebreather, so I imagine it's a bit stealthier than, you know, going brrr, brrr with a deep sea diving kit on. But yeah, that's your IP-5 Rebreather. It's a weird thing, to be sure. As I said, I don't know much about them, but I thought one being £15 on eBay was quite good. Around £15, £17, something like that. Because, as I said, normally you don't see these unless they cost a lot more of the full kit. But because it's probably not safe to put that filter, sort of CO2 scrubber, whatever it is, onto the mask, I thought, why not just get the mask and have it as a kind of cool thing, just for the sake of having it. And hopefully you'll find this interesting, even though, as I said, I'm sorry I can't tell you more about these, but I don't really understand much about rebreathers, and I don't find them as interesting as gas masks, even though they are much more complex things. But there you go.